Welcome to NFL Talk. This is the Kata Media Podcast. I'm Jizzle on my tizzle. I'm here with Cole Thompson. We're filling in for Kata Hot. He's on vacation with his fiance. So we got some interesting things to talk about. What'd you think about the slate of games this week, Cole?
I thought that they were very interesting. It was a tough weekend if you gambled. Very tough weekend throughout college football and the NFL. But the NFL, I mean, it just feeds into more of this crazy start to the season we've seen from surprise teams. And there's always surprise teams, there's always disappointing teams. But I feel like this year it's just different. The way the games are going, these comebacks we see, these games that are just being thrown away in ways that I don't think I've seen in years past. So definitely a very entertaining slate.
Definitely. This is why I don't gamble. Any given Sunday is a real thing.
Yeah.
Like where do people have the Chargers? What were people's score predictions for this Chargers game?
I thought the Chargers were
40-3?
Yeah, I was like 38-13 Chargers. I thought the Chargers were going to beat them senseless. And they ended up getting beat senseless themselves. So
if you're a follower of Cots, you saw his videos last night. We went to the Giants game. So we got some stuff to talk about. We're gonna start with the Giants game. Giants fall apart on national TV. I think there's a lot of false narratives tied to this game. I think Daniel Jones played well and his team let him down. So let's just look at the stats here. 196 yards passing, 79 yards rushing. He had 5 open wide receiver drops. We're gonna go over those shortly. Kenny Golladay, he had a couple. I'm done with this guy. He can't play. He doesn't care. This is one of the worst. This is one of the worst signings in Giants history. We had 2 by Sterling Shepard. He had a hard night, but Sterling Shepard's always been a good producer for the Giants, so I can't be too mad at him. He probably played his last snap in a Giants uniform after tearing his ACL. He had 1 interception. This is something that Kata noticed. I do want to briefly go over. He did have a very good game stat-wise, but he had multiple dropped interceptions. The Cowboys probably had like 5 opportunities to pick off a ball where the throw wasn't quite there. They ended up taking one away on the last drive of the game. I would be remiss if I didn't contextualize those interceptions. Daniel Jones had 24 pressures on 34 throws. That's the most in his career. That's the Giants offensive line really just fell apart. 5 sacks. This was 3 were given up by Evan Neal. He really has welcome to the NFL moment last night. Really, constant pressure of the middle was something I noticed. That week interior offensive line really gave the Giants problems. Specifically, Mark Lewinsky, the Giants right guard. He's been having problems with that inside shoulder. Teams like Micah Parsons, we saw that huge. He got put on a poster by Micah Parsons. He got put on his ass. Feliciano and Bredson, the center and the left guard, they're just unreliable. I definitely think the Giants should look to replace those guys in the draft. Look at some more of the stats. Saquon had a pretty good game. I liked what I saw out of him for what he was given. 81 yards on 14 attempts. It's really good. He had 45 receiving yards. He carries his team. He's the heart and soul of his team. Defense. I was very impressed with the defense. There was some players that I had hoped had shown up more, and they just didn't. Kayvon Thibodeau, he only had one total tackle the entire night. He was kind of all around the field. He wasn't doing nothing. He was just getting shut down all game, but he kind of disappeared. Kayvon.
Yeah,
I think they game plan against him. I think he's got some potential. I think the numbers. I want to see some better numbers out of him because if you want to be an elite edge rusher in this.
You're lagging a little bit right now. But to take what Jizzle was saying about Kayvon Thibodeau, I was actually very impressed by the way he played. He seemed to be getting a lot of pressure off the edge. It seems like that they planned more against Kayvon Thibodeau than they did a lot of the other defenders on the Giants. So I was actually pretty impressed with the way they played. What I will say about the Giants, though, was, and I know he was speaking on Daniel Jones, and he had some moments he had some flashes in this game. He didn't look all that bad. I think the only issue is I don't think Daniel Jones is that good. I think this issue is that was one of the better games I've seen him play. That was one of the better games I've seen Daniel Jones play. And the fact that it was still at that level is why I don't think Daniel Jones is going to be good. I think Daniel Jones played a good game, and he got no help. I think he could have won that game. He very well could have won that game for the Giants, helped the Giants win that game. But he didn't. That was the best I've seen out of Daniel Jones. And that's still that one game does not make me change the opinion I've been so strongly on with Daniel Jones throughout the season and throughout the past few seasons, that Daniel Jones is not that good. Shout out to everybody on TikTok. Make sure you head over to Kata Media on YouTube. We are live right now. Jizzle, he just lagged out, but he'll be back in a second. And tune in to our recap of this week. Daniel Jones, I mean, listen, yeah, he played a solid game, and his receivers didn't help. When you have Kenny Golladay, you're paying him $79 million, and he can barely get a catch. I mean, and Sterling Shepard is gone. He's had a few drops, and he's probably going to be gone. All right, you back, Jizz?
Yep. Got a little technical difficulty. Wrong.
All right. I was talking about Daniel Jones and about how that was one of the better games I've seen him play. But I don't know how you feel about Daniel Jones prior to this. I'm not. I know I'm an Eagles fan, but I'm not a huge believer in Daniel Jones. I think he stinks for the most part. But I will give credit where it's due. He did play a good game on Monday, and his team let him down. But my fear is that was the best I've seen out of Daniel Jones.
I've seen better. Probably the best game I've ever seen out of Daniel Jones was the Saints game last year. He had 400 passing yards. He had a couple touchdowns, bunch of rushing yards. That was probably the best game I've ever seen out of Daniel Jones. He played very, very well. That was one of his better games.
Yeah.
I think
it's also fair to mention I don't really watch the Giants unless they're on national television.
Right.
Or they're playing the Eagles. So I don't get to see every Daniel Jones game. But from the sample size I have, that, like I said, now that Saints one, I know exactly what game you're talking about. Now that I think about that, I remember looking at the numbers. That was a 1 o'clock game on a Sunday.
Yeah.
When the Eagles were playing. Yeah. So again, that's a game I missed. So take my opinion with a grain of salt. But
no, yeah, that's fair. That's where most people form their opinion on Daniel Jones. That he's like, I've watched every snap of his career from his first snap he ever took in the preseason in 2019. I'm a season ticket holder, so I was at that game. From his last snap last night. He doesn't play well in primetime because usually they're paired up with they play very good teams on primetime.
Okay. We got some more lag, so I'm going to continue talking about Daniel Jones a little bit. But from what he was saying, it seems like he's saying that they play against better teams on primetime, which is – all right, you're good.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I got to fix my internet. I apologize. They play better teams on primetime. They're usually – his support cast has never been great. I saw this statistic this morning that some beat writer posted. He's never had competent coaching before this year. He's never had a top 15 rushing attack before this year. He's never had a good offensive line. He's never had healthy wide receivers. He's never had good wide receivers. So, I mean, he's really fighting an uphill battle, Daniel Jones is. It's just very hard for a guy like him to succeed in such a big market like New York. I don't think he's bad. I think he's very average. That's my opinion on Daniel Jones. But he's average, but he has a very high ceiling because his best games are phenomenal. His best games, you know what I mean?
I think that's fair. I see where you're coming from. I would say that Daniel Jones is an average quarterback that can get you a few games a year where he just plays above average, but he will also give you a few stinkers a year. So it
That's true.
depends. For Daniel Jones to succeed, I feel like you have to have a very strong team around him. You have to have guys like you have to have weapons and a strong offensive line, a strong defense around him, which I feel like the Giants are building towards. But my only fear is the Daniel Jones clock ticking away. Like, do you think he'll be the quarterback next year?
Here's the problem. It's if he had 3 more years on his rookie deal, yeah. But like he's gonna ask for what's the quarterback market nowadays? The cap's jumping. Hey, if he breaks out this season, that's actually probably the best situation for the Giants because even though they're paying, he's probably gonna ask for 35 million a year if he does go ahead and break out. But like because then they can go and improve their offensive line, which is their biggest problem. Because really, when he's upright, when he's got some time in the pocket, when he's got a clean pocket, for the most part, you're getting he's a top 15 arm. His arm is top 15. The problem is when he's pressured like he was last night, there is no window to throw.
Yeah.
I think the average time to sack or the average time to pressure was like 1.4 seconds.
Yeah,
That's just you could put Tom Brady back there. He'd probably win you 10 games, for being honest, just because he's that great. But like it would severely hinder any quarterback. It doesn't matter.
Absolutely. I think that there's certain, and also he just obviously he doesn't have the escapability of like Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, Kyler Murray to that level where you can have that little cushion. I may not have a great offensive line, but I can get away from pressure. I can throw on the run a little bit better, stuff like that. He's not that type of quarterback, and even not to their level at least. So I do agree. I don't think Daniel Jones is has horrible mechanics. Is just lacks talent. I think he's just in a bad situation that doesn't fit that tends to magnify his weaknesses, so he looks as bad as he does at times. But then you see games on like I said, he's gonna give you a game or two a year where he just plays lights out, and we saw that on Monday night. Now we're also going to see a game or two a year where he lays an absolute stinker and fumbles the ball 2-3 times, which we're going to see at some point this season. Hopefully against the Eagles, obviously. And he lagged out again. But that's what I say. That's what I have to say about Daniel Jones and the Giants situation. Kenny Golladay, I know Heath touched on that a bit. Kenny Galladay's a bum. Kenny Golladay sucks, and the Giants should do whatever they can to get rid of him at this very second. And you know what? I don't blame the Giants because he was a stud in Detroit, but he's not good. I mean, he's getting like 3 targets. I think Daboll's going to get rid of him after the season, from what I heard.
Yeah. I didn't hear the beginning of that sentence, but I love the end of it. So I'm going to go ahead and agree with it. Yeah. I didn't hear the beginning of it, but I love the end of it. So I'm just going to go ahead and agree with that. Yeah. So I mean, he's terrible. He can't play. Yeah, or you know what? I'm not even going to go far as say that. I think he would he just doesn't really fit that well into the scheme. And that paired with the fact he's playing like a 7th round or undrafted player.
Yeah.
So we're pretty much in agreement on that. I want to go over. So the Giants got some really interesting, they're in a very interesting spot because at this point in the year they were expected to be 0-3 because their easy stretch of games, which starts right now. It's the Bears, Packers, Ravens. Okay, so I guess it starts the week after that. So it goes Bears, Packers, Ravens, Jags, Seahawks, Texans, Lions. So that's a lot of wins in there. I have them potentially beating the Jags. I have them definitely beating the Seahawks. I have them definitely beating the Texans. And I have the Detroit is winnable. So that's 4 games right there. That's 7 wins. That's 7 wins already. And they're going to go into week 11 potentially with a 7-win team. And then coming out of the bye, they got the Cowboys. They're going to lose that game. Commanders are looking like the worst team in the league right now. I'm gonna give them the win. That's 8 wins. They're going against the Eagles at home. I have this split because they're very good against the Eagles at home, but I'm gonna give that to the Eagles. So they're that's what 8-6. Let's see. Then they have the Commanders. I have them sweeping the Commanders. They're just not a very good football team. So that's 9 wins. One
Okay.
more win and they're in the playoffs. Or well, in the NFC, we don't even really know. But what do you think? So I got this graph here of there's like some scenarios where they would or wouldn't make the playoffs. What are your thoughts?
I have the Giants right around. I just went through it real quick. I have them right around 8 wins on the season. I think that they're going to have a lot of tests this year. But with the way the NFC is going, they could very well steal a game of those 2 that I have them losing and move to become let's say, like a 9 or 10 win team and sneak in the playoffs. I think it's very wide open, especially towards the bottom. I feel like that, and maybe it's a little biased, but I feel like that this is the general public's opinion at this point. The Eagles, it's their division to lose at this point. They are probably
I don't think anyone's arguing that.
They're my number 1 team in the league right now. And I was higher, obviously, because I'm an Eagles fan. And just naturally, I feel like I was higher on the Eagles than most people this season, and everyone's like kind of taken off by the way the Eagles are performing, and this is what I expected. But to the Giants, I think that they definitely can become a playoff team. I think that they have something that I feel like they haven't had since Tom Coughlin, and that was a gritty head coach that just makes these guys want to go out there and put in that extra effort. We saw it in the Titans game. Titans should have won that game, but the Giants fought back and earned the win. We saw it in the Carolina game. Carolina had every chance to win that game, but the Giants didn't let them. The Giants earned their 2 wins, even though I don't think the Giants were as good as a lot of people were projecting. I don't think that it was like a fluke. I think that they played the games on their schedule. They fought hard and got their wins. Like I said about the Eagles last year, all you can do is play the teams on your schedule. And if you can make the playoffs with that record, you deserve it. So I think the Giants very well can. But we're going to need to see We're going to need to see the Giants that we saw at the end of the Titans game, at the end of the Panthers game, and not the Giants we saw at the end of Monday night's game.
Yeah, I actually liked their defense a lot this year. I liked it in the first half of Monday night's game. I thought they played phenomenal. I really don't think you can do much more than they did on Monday night in that first half. They played real bend don't break defense, and that's people meme on that a little bit because it's very rare that you see a good bend don't break defense because most bad teams they bend and then they break, but their mantra is bend don't break. So I feel like that's where the bad public opinion of bend don't break is. Lastly, I just wanted to go over some of the holes that need to be addressed on the Giants offense because I think they could be a perennial playoff team if only they fill these certain holes on their offense. So I got their left guard, I got their center, I got their right guard, and their whole wide receiver core. I think the day of reckoning is coming for that wide receiver core. Let's see, we got Kenny Golladay, can't play. Kadarius Toney can't stay healthy. Shepard's done for his career is probably over. And that's such a shame because I love Sterling Shepard. And
Darius Slayton, Giant, you mean?
2 ways. That's his second ACL tear.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's 29. Ooh. Hey, if he could come back, I want the best for my boy Sterling Shepard. I've talked to him multiple times over the years after games. He's a really, really good guy. If he could somehow come back and make a second a revival of his career, I would love that for him because he deserves it. But he's probably not going to be a Giant anymore very soon after week 18. And then Slayton, get that man out of there. 5th round pick. You know what? I'm just happy we only spent a 5th round pick on him and not like anything higher. He was okay for what he was, but he just drops too many. I don't want Darius Slayton to have any place on this roster, any place high on this roster, and he's going to ask for that because he just drops balls in tight situations. and we can't have that.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah. So let's talk about this Jaguars Chargers game.
Man, I'll tell you what, Jaguars, they have shocked me. They have shocked me a lot. They
shocked the
flew
world.
up my power rankings.
Yeah. Where do you have them?
Right now, I believe I have them at 8. Actually,
8. 8.
I have them at 8.
Shit.
Just the way they listen. The way they played against the Colts really impressed me, and they moved up a decent amount after that. But just the way this week unfolded, they flew up. Like I had them passing the Chargers even, just because the way they manhandled the Chargers, I couldn't have the Chargers one spot ahead of them. And I think the way I feel like power rankings go at the beginning of the season, it's not necessarily I wouldn't say it's necessarily who the best team is. I would say it's if I'm putting this team, do I think that they could beat them in I would say like a 3-game series for
Who's
Seth?
the best team right now, right this second?
What kind of question is
Like
that?
that to me, that's what power rankings are. Because what power rankings do is it takes into account what teams are hot.
Mhm.
So if it's hot, the Jaguars, that's gonna reflect that.
Yeah, and the
I think
Jaguars
that's very high for the Jaguars. I would maybe put them around. They're definitely below 15. They're maybe 12, 10.
I wouldn't say they're that low. I would say that what they've done is just so impressive. Just the way they've done it too. They took a Colts team that everybody thought was a lock to win the division and embarrassed the Colts at home. Embarrassed the Colts. It was in Jacksonville, but embarrassed the Colts. Then they go out there, and then I know the Chargers were banged up. But the Chargers still had Justin Herbert out there, and they manhandled the Chargers. They aren't just beating teams; they are manhandling them. So I think that's definitely fair. And obviously, I think T. Law he has looked good. I think
Where do you have him?
Really, I would say that I would have thought the Jaguars would have had a better year than they did last year if they did not have arguably the worst head coach of all time. He was literally arguably the worst head coach in the NFL ever.
Really? Yeah. Where do you have T-Law? In your QB ranking? Yeah.
Oh, I didn't get to. Oh, let me think.
How about this? Let's do a little game.
Season,
I'll give you a handful of quarterbacks. You say if you want the quarterback I give you, you say I'll take him.
Okay.
If you would rather have T-Law, say T-Law. Got it? For one season. Let's get the best ones out of the way.
All right, for this season, like from what we've seen this season.
For one season. So like age does not come in like contract, age, whatever. Tom Brady.
Tom Brady.
Okay. Justin Herbert. Okay. Pat Mahomes. Okay. Let's see. We got Josh Allen. Tua Tagovailoa.
For one season.
For this season.
Oh, that's tough. They're both having great seasons. Here's my only thing.
I know who I'd take.
Here's my only thing. If you put Trevor Lawrence on the Dolphins right now, I think that they're in the exact same spot. If you put Tua on the Jaguars, I don't think they're in the same spot. I don't think that the offense looks as good as it has. I'm taking Trevor Lawrence.
Take it, Trevor. Okay. Let's see who else. Let's go through some easy ones. I know Jalen Hurts.
Good boy. Jalen Hurts. That's my guy. I'm not taking Jalen Hurts.
If you could put Trevor Lawrence on the Eagles right now, you wouldn't do it.
No. I think that here's the reason why. I think that it's more of a system thing though, because I think that Trevor Lawrence doesn't have the running ability that Jalen Hurts has. But I would take Trevor Lawrence. I would take Jalen Hurts. Sorry, Jalen Hurts. I would take Jalen Hurts.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Can you hear me, right?
Yeah.
You can hear me, right?
Yep.
Okay, good.
You're good.
All right, let's see. Russell Wilson.
Trevor Lawrence. Russell Wilson looked pitiful.
Okay. Derek Carr.
I'm gonna say Trevor Lawrence. If I'm just basing off of what I've seen this season, though, not just this. Like there is a level of. Here's the thing: Derek Carr's having a horrible season. He's having a horrible start to his season. He's the only 0-3 team in the league. Trevor Lawrence is 2-1. Trevor Lawrence has played teams that have been a little bit more impressive than the Raiders have. I mean, straight up, the Raiders lost to the Chargers, and he blew the doors off the Chargers.
Okay, all right, that's fair. Okay, who else? Matthew Stafford.
Stafford.
All right, so you have him around that like 10 to 13 area.
Yes, that would be right around where I have him right now, 10 to 13.
Okay, all right.
Based off obviously like this season.
All right. What about Daniel Dimes MVP Jones?
Oh my God! I'll take Trevor Lawrence 7 days a week and twice on Sundays on that
one. Mackie Dimes, Mac Jones.
I think Mac Jones is a fraud. I think he's kind of a scrub. I'm gonna take Daniel.
We're just roasting the bad quarterbacks at this point. Yeah, Matt Ryan.
Oh, I'm taking Trevor Lawrence. Yeah.
Matty Ice. All right.
Yeah, maybe like 15 years ago when Trevor Lawrence was in middle school.
I'd still take Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, I probably still would take Trevor Lawrence, honestly.
Justin Fields.
Oh, Trevor Lawrence. Justin Fields is not. Listen, I want.
Do you remember when those two were coming out? When not like the draft year, like 5 years ago. Yeah. When they were in the same class.
Coming out of high school.
Justin Fields was actually projected to be the 1, and Trevor Lawrence was actually projected to be the 2. Yeah. That was fantastic. I loved watching that because that was like the first. That was I've been a Giants fan since I was 7 years old, but like that was like the first group of quarterbacks like I watched like because I really started like caring about it in like 2015, and those are the first duo that like I saw coming out of high school and like. Wow, these are the best quarterbacks in the country. I'm watching them go through college.
Yeah, no, it was that was one of the coolest things about QB1 was that
Yeah, the what was that that camp that they would always have the competitions at?
Elite 11.
Elite 11. Yeah, that was really cool.
Yeah, that was awesome. I love watching Elite 11 clips.
All right, so let's just go over some bummy ass quarterbacks just to roast them just for fun. Desmond Ridder.
Trevor Lawrence. Desmond Ridder, dude, I don't even know if he's seen the field yet. Has he?
I think he's seen the field a little bit. Really? Marcus Mariota isn't playing. Well, right? If he is playing.
He's playing.
Okay, all right. So Marcus Mariota is just bottom.
Yeah, I mean.
Bottom 3.
Marcus Mariota, honestly, isn't having all that horrible of a year, but his team is just so bad.
Yeah.
It's just so bad.
Okay. All right. So I mean, other than like Daniel Jones, MVP, Dimes, where Trevor Lawrence is probably about 10 to 13. Did I miss any quarterbacks?
Yeah, I would. No, I think you hit all the I think you got right around that area.
Right.
I think like Derek Carr. I think obviously there is a level of past years you have to take in. The past few years you have to take into effect. But I would say just as bad as Derek Carr has played. I would put Trevor Lawrence ahead of him just because of how well I feel like Trevor Lawrence has played. I would also say that it's tough too as probably the best comparison just because of how close I had them, I believe, like 18 and 19 or 17-18 before the season.
Yeah, that's a pretty good ranking.
And then now they both have played phenomenal. They both have played phenomenal. I will backtrack a little bit on that one. I would actually take the way Tua is playing this year. I would take Tua. I would take Tua.
You think so?
Yeah.
Tua is having the season that I prayed every single night all off season that Daniel Jones would have because they were in the exact same situation. Because if he had like a regular Tua Tagovailoa season, he would have been out. Like he'd never be a starting quarterback again.
Yeah.
And no, I love comeback stories. I love that for Dolphins fans because now they're going to be like a perennial playoff team. because Tua stepped up this season.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, I can give you my full power rankings if you want to do that.
Yeah, dude, go for it. Go for it.
All right. So starting off at number 10, I have the Vikings. I think that the way, as well as they played on the week 1 against the Packers, and I mean they beat the Lions, and let's be honest, the Lions are a scrappy team that's going to compete with everybody. And they went out there and they pulled off the win. They almost blew it, and then the Lions blew it back. It's just so, and there's not many other teams that have impressed me that much. So I have the Vikings at 10. At 9, I have the Chargers because they lost for Sean Slater and because of how bad they looked on Sunday. That was horrible. That was horrible. I have them at 8. Or I have them at 9. I have them at 9. As 8, I have the Jaguars. And the Jaguars flew up. I think I had them moved up. I don't really release my power rankings until about now because I'd like to get a grasp of what's going on. But just as hot as the Jaguars are, I think that there's only 7 teams in the league that could beat them. That's just the best way to look at it. As the way if I put 7 teams against them last week, the 7 teams ahead of them are the only teams I think that would have won last week. At number 7, I have the Bucks. I know they did lose last week, but that defense is in my opinion, the best defense in the league this year. They have been
the Bucks defense
lights out. They slowed down that Packers offense after they came out to a red hot start. They back-to-back league MVP. You held them to 14 points in 3 quarters. After that first quarter, you held them to 14 points. You held them to no points. I mean, so I'm going Bucks 7. Just that defense looks great. 6, I have the Chiefs. The Chiefs had every chance to win that game, and they were the better team. They outplayed the Colts. I felt like I would say that they threw that game away by that Chris Jones unsportsmanlike penalty. So I don't want to punish them too much. I did knock them down about 3-4 spots, but at number 5, I got the Packers. I mean, it just feels like we're seeing a traditional season from the Packers. The Packers are going to go on this red hot streak till about through October and November. Late November, early December, they're going to lose a game or two. Going to get to the playoffs as a 1 or 2 seed, choke. But right now, I mean, you can't deny what the Packers have done. They dismantled the Bears 2 weeks ago on Sunday night. And then last week they went out there and they beat the Bucks. At number 4, I have the Baltimore Ravens. Lamar Jackson right now is my league MVP. And that is saying something, seeing I'm a Jalen Hurts fan. Lamar Jackson has looked like the best player in football this season. Not just the best player, quarterback, the best player in football. And I'm a huge Lamar Jackson supporter, and I love what he's doing, but I have him at number 4.
Hey, we've seen running backs win MVP in the past.
What?
We've seen running backs win MVP in the past.
Funny.
Yeah. I'm a Lamar Jackson hater, baby.
I'm just not shocked by that.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not kidding. No, I'm totally joking. I agree with that.
Nah. At number 3 is the Dolphins, and 2 is my number 3 MVP candidate. The Dolphins, they just beat the Bills, and I know it's gonna be weird. I'm just gonna say this while Bills are at 2. I didn't want to judge it off just that one game. Just the way the Bills have looked the last 2 weeks and the beginning of the season factor, I would say that the Dolphins have also shown ugly flashes. Like the 3 quarters that they played against the Ravens were pitiful. Right. Pitiful. But the way Tua stepped up at the end of that game and the way he played against the Bills and just the way he came back from that injury, all respect to the Tua and the Dolphins, they're getting number 3 and very well can move up to 2 or 1. At 2, I have the Buffalo Bills. The Bills still, I think, I'm not going to take one game where they pulled a Dallas Cowboys and couldn't spike the ball. One game that they still look pretty damn good. I mean, Josh Allen threw the ball 63 times, at 2 touchdowns and over 400 yards. All in all, still a solid game from the Bills, just didn't go your way. And at number 1, who else? I got the Philadelphia Eagles. They dismantled the Lions. They destroyed the Vikings. They beat the Lions, who, like I said, they're that team that's in your ear. They're that little won't stop pestering you and hang around, and they beat them. And we've seen the Lions. They just destroyed the Commanders, and then they went out there and hung around with the Vikings and almost beat them. Very impressed with the way the Eagles are playing. I think that they're going to be the last undefeated team, and I'm sticking by my preseason prediction that they're going to win the Super Bowl. So those are my power rankings.
All right. You mind if I make my own revisions?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so I think the Vikings are a little high. They're a good team. Their roster is very, very good. I think Kirk Cousins is slightly holding them back a little bit just because he's such a He's so damn average. That's all I'm saying. I think 10 is a little high for them.
Okay.
I'm putting the Chargers a little higher than 9. I
Okay.
know they just got dismantled, but everyone's got bad nights. I think it may be a little early to like write them off as a
I'm not writing
like
them
out
off.
like out not like write them off as like outside
I'm
of
not
that
writing
Super
them
Bowl
off,
bubble.
but I do see where you're coming. That's me lagging.
Yeah. So Jags, I think that's high. I would definitely put them like 12, 13. I think they've definitely if I see one more week, I'll give them that 8 spot.
Oh, if I
If
see
they
another week
show
like that, they might jump up to 6, dude. If I see
6,
another week like that, depending on what I see, it's hard to tell because you don't know what you're going to see. I mean, the Dolphins could come out there and lay a turd on Thursday Night Football and slide down.
right. I mean, so like I think they're definitely earning their stripes here.
Mhm.
I would definitely keep them. I'm keeping them within 5 spots.
Yeah,
You know,
no, fair.
they're like 12. They're like 11 or 12.
I mean, it's also early in the season, so it's everyone jumps around. It's hard to tell at this point.
Yeah, Bucks. I think I have them a little higher just because of Tom Brady. You had the Bucks, the Packers, and the Eagles as the 3 teams in the NFC.
Bucks 7, Chiefs 6, Packers 5.
Yeah. So So the Eagles would be 1 in the NFC. The Packers would be 2 in the NFC, which means the Eagles are actually like pretty far ahead of the Packers. So you basically have the Eagles winning the whole NFC, and it wouldn't be close. I definitely think it's going to come down to Tom Brady and Jalen Hurts in the playoffs. If it's really like that. So I actually am going to go ahead and swap the Packers and the Bucks just
Okay.
because the Packers, like I'm looking ahead. I'm looking at the playoffs, and I really don't see. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to be Aaron Rodgers and have an amazing season, possibly win MVP, and he's gonna choke at the playoffs. Like he's an amazing quarterback, but that's just we know who he is.
Yeah, fair enough.
We know who he is.
Absolutely fair.
So yeah, so I actually I'm gonna after I swap them, I'm gonna swap the Dolphins and the Bucks. So I'm putting the Dolphins at 5. They're very, very, very good team. I want to see one more good week out of them, and then I will give them that 3 spot, no question. But I
Okay.
really think that the Bucks can have the potential to win the NFC, and they're a really good team. They could beat any team in the league, just because of Tom Brady.
That's fair.
Like I respect the hell out of Tom Brady. I got my Brady jersey, and then I got my broom right there because Eli Manning swept him in the playoffs. No, but I think that list is pretty good. I'd probably put the Eagles behind the Bills. I think the Bills are probably the best team in the league. The Eagles, they're probably 2 or 3 for me. And then just because I have to, I'd probably put my Giants top 20. They're probably 17, 18 at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I would put them in the top 32.
Oh, definitely. Oh, yeah.
I would say that they're right around that 32 to 33 range.
They're a team. They're definitely a team. They exist.
I might put Alabama ahead of the Giants. Still debating on that one.
Listen, I mean, you said it before. They earned those 2 wins. I think the Giants. Yeah. I think the Giants season is a lot like the Eagles season last year. Like, and I love what you said. All you can do is just play the teams on your schedule.
Absolutely.
All you can do, and it doesn't really matter how you win. But like, they're 2-1 right now, and that's better than some. That's better than a lot of teams that are better that are higher on them than this list can say. And like they went in. I really think, you know, if I'm talking about Daniel Jones now, if Evan Neal doesn't have his look from the NFL moment.
Oh, you're lagging again. JT. But no, I think he was saying that if he didn't have that welcome the NFL moment, they would have done much better. And I do agree to a point. I do hate the Giants, and I don't think they're that good, but I would also say that it's very similar to how the Eagles were last year. He was completely right on that. I do think he was completely right on that fact that it was very similar to the Eagles last year. That's just the best way I would look at describing it. It was very similar to the Eagles last year.
I hate my internet so much. I'm so sorry.
No, you're good, man. You're good.
Okay. Yeah, but what I was saying before, I think if that line plays like they did, if they play like they did against the Titans, I think there's probably a good chance they come out with a win. Vegas did actually have them win in that game, and I see why. At home, they had the opportunity against Cooper Rush. I'd probably put them around 18. I think that's a good spot for them.
Honestly, I would say that's fair.
Do you want? I wasn't able to watch the Colts Chiefs game. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Do I want to? No, but will I? Yes. So, the Chiefs sold that game, and a lot of people I saw had bets on the Chiefs. I'm not going to say people who had bets on the Chiefs. To win that game, a part of a parlay that could win a good amount of money, and the Chiefs blew it because Chris Jones decided to get up in Matt Ryan's face and scream at him something I don't even know what he said. What are you doing? What are you doing? There is 2 minutes left in the game. You are up. You got to stop. They are going to punt the football or go for it on 4th and long, and you blow it. You blow it from the Chiefs of all teams. The Chiefs. You've been there. You know what it takes. This isn't like a young, fiery team. This is the Kansas City Chiefs that won the Super Bowl 3 years ago, that were there again 2 years ago, that 4 years ago were one play away from, because of undisciplinedness, one play away from going to the Super Bowl. And then last year, again, they were undisciplined in the 4th quarter and blew it, and then they ended up not going to the Super Bowl. You think they learn? And I know it's not really that big of a game. I really know that it probably doesn't matter that much to the Chiefs because they're going to end up being the top 3 team in the AFC. We know that. But either way, you got it. That stuff can't happen, especially out of Chris Jones. He's a veteran, man. Come on.
Yeah, what I love about this season is there's so much parity in the league. There's 2 teams are undefeated, and it's the Eagles and the Dolphins. Like, I think the Eagles are gonna have an amazing season, but there's no one's going undefeated this year. No one's going undefeated. There's a ton of parity in this league.
Whoa.
Well, you have the Eagles going 17-0, win it. Yeah. They go to the Super Bowl, and they go win that bitch.
Yep. Absolutely. But now I do understand what you're saying. The Eagles aren't really going to go 17. I don't actually think that. My preseason prediction was like 13-4, 14-3. But I do think that this is the part of the season where they run the table. Oh, he's lagging again. You got it?
Yeah, I got it. All right. Yeah, if I turn my data off and then back on, I don't lose you. So if I do it fast enough, no, but I think we covered everything. Let's do a quick once over. Giants fall apart on national television. Their problems. I'm kidding. Jaguars shock the world, and they're a top 10 team. How about that?
Let's go, Doug Peterson, baby.
How about that? Tua breaks into the MVP conversation. I think that was phenomenal. I love that for Dolphins fans. They really that's an organization that really deserves it after this 20 years. They were stuck in the division with Tom Brady. Weren't able to do much. The Chiefs were infuriating last night or Sunday night. And the AFC's wide open for the Eagles. And they're going to go 17-0 and win the Super Bowl.
Win the whole thing.
You're gonna win the whole thing. All right. I think that's all we got for you today.
Thanks, man.
For those
Appreciate
for
it.
those that showed up, thanks for watching. Um,
Go Birds.
so, what's your schedule for the podcast that you and Kai typically do?
So I think we're doing tomorrow. We're doing our predictions.
Okay. Yep, I'll be there.
You'll be there. Yeah, he's out.
Yeah,
I
I'll
don't
be
think he's in town, right? He's out. He's away.
He'll be back tomorrow.
Okay. Okay.
He should be, I think. Well,
Okay.
I'll reach out to him.
All right. Word.
All right.
Well, that'll do it for today. See you guys tomorrow. Go Birds.